So, any questions about last class? I think we talked about the need to belong in the last class. So, are there any questions that you might have? Did you have a chance to look over your notes to see if there was anything that was unclear? Nothing that jumps out at you, Beth?
Nope.
Okay, how about a summarization?
It was like being in psychology class all over again.
Oh, well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Took me back to the early 80s. Oh, it's just our sense of level of self-esteem comes from being around others due to us being social creatures. So that the people we hang out with is really reflections of ourselves.
Exactly.
Probably why I don't feel comfortable in my own family.
Yeah, you don't hang out with them. So, how about you, Sandy? Anything jump out at you?
I've never been to a psychology class, but that's exactly what it felt like, because it was all about, you know, looking at yourself, really looking at yourself, and kind of coming to terms with that, I guess, with who you are, what you are, why you do what you do.
Believe it or not, it's important. And if you notice, when we started into this class, this is tying everything up. This is what it's all working towards. Is you and how you see yourself, what you think of how you think about yourself. All of that is it's extremely relevant, because if you understand why you do the things you do, you can make informed choices about how you might want to change some of those things that you do. And unless you understand something, you're just stumbling in the dark. I learned, these were hard lessons for myself. So you're getting the benefit of my experience of stumbling in the dark. Hopefully this will help you understand yourself. So, did you see anything in there, Sharon? Because I saw you.
Saw a couple things.
Okay, like what?
Oh.
All the ones with these points where you may search for opportunities to simplify your life, to expand your experience, or perhaps to deepen your understanding. These natural points offer you opportunities, and it would be prudent to take advantage of them. That's interesting. And then the other line I underlined, letting go may be the path to true freedom. That kind of hit home.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I know, I've got to read this again.
Yeah, there's a lot that we hold on to, and most of it, we don't realize it. We don't realize it. So far, I haven't seen anybody present an idea, but and those are points. You read these things, and everybody is yelling and screaming about what's happening, but nobody's taking the time to understand why it's happening. And when you understand why it's happening, your whole perspective shifts. And it did for me. The more I explored this, they throw terms around, liberal leftists. Okay, what does that mean? Well, that's who we are. We're liberals. We are progressive thinkers, because that's what we teach here. That's what our Sundays are about. I go through all of these these religious teachings in the past and everything. I pull out nuggets here and there, and we talk about them. You know, they had some very progressive ideas compared to what a lot of places are teaching. So if you understand why something is happening, your perspective changes. And that's the idea here. If you understand why you are doing what you're doing, your perspective of yourself changes. Because now you really do have the tools to make meaningful changes. And that's important. And we get these natural points of reflection. You know, we're doing something, and then all of a sudden we just stop. How did I get here? That's a natural point of introspection. It's a natural opportunity that just presents itself. And we have these more frequent than you would think. Whenever we step outside the veranda or the porch or the yard or whatever, and we just gaze out and wonder, that's a natural opportunity to reflect. And you take advantage of those opportunities because they're naturally, everything is just naturally rushing over you. You don't have to go looking for it. That's the nice thing about these times. You don't have to go looking for it. You just watch it as it plays out, and then you go, oh, there's an aha moment. Just, oh, now I understand. Of course, a lot of us, me included, will go, okay, I understand. Then we turn around, go back in, forget all about it. So did that explain what is meant by those natural points of introspection? I mean, they're just there, and we have the opportunity to take advantage of it. It's like standing under a waterfall or taking a shower. So, okay. Well, we will have our meditation, give you an opportunity to clear your mind and get ready to delve into this. So today, we're going to talk about introspection in general. Nothing too deep, I don't think. Just the whole idea of introspection, which is looking in on yourself. So introspection is, you know, we're not going to go into it very deep. It's not something that is very deep. It's just what it is. That's all we're going to be talking about. It's just what it is. And I begin with have you awakened or discovered a possible different reality or perspective? Have you experienced that as we move through the class? Is your perspective of how you see yourself and how you see the world at large, do you see that shifting any? And you see any changes happening within yourself? What kind of changes, Beth?
I would say becoming more accepting of possibilities that in the past I would, if I had them, or when I had them, I would say, you watched too much Star Trek. But now it's like, no, the more we learn about the quantum theory stuff, it's like, no, that explains a lot. And that makes a heck of a lot more sense to me. So science fiction is not really that much fiction anymore.
Yeah. Yeah, quantum philosophy, that's pretty deep. And we can explore that sometime if you like. Explore that whole idea of quantum philosophy and how you can apply it to what's going on in your life and such. how you can, because it's through that when we meditate, we're able to, well, you could call it another reality, I think is how one of our spirit teachers put it. It's one of those other realities, and that's the quantum realm. The quantum realm has every potential outcome within it. And if you subscribe to the idea of the multi-universe, then that would mean that every time a decision comes up, there's a version of you that walks off with the other choices that you made, that you considered. And then they have their own version. And then through meditation, we may actually tap into these other selves, having these other experiences, and may be able to benefit from it. I mean, there's all sorts of possibilities with that. So, and how about yourself, Sharon?
Oh, probably not as much as I should have. It's hard to put yourself, it's hard to think that way, I think, when you're kind of just caught up in a lot of stress in your own stuff, and it's hard to look past, so I haven't probably not done it as much as I should. I think if I felt a little better, I could probably think about it more. But it's something, it's a goal. Something like I said, reading this again, I can kind of, I try to remember it. That's the problem when you're out there trying to remember stuff. One of the things I don't like to do, waiting on customers. It kind of, I don't really like to do it, but I find that when I have to do it, I always come away with something from somebody says something to me. And I wouldn't interact with these people ever in life. I'm not much of a person who goes to the store and strikes up conversations with people in the aisles unless somebody says something to me, right? I mean,
I am.
I was when I was younger. I was more so like that when I was younger, but I'm not so much like that. But when I have to interact with people, I do, find that they do, for the most part, they're nice and they're friendly. And sometimes they say really nice things I didn't expect. If that's what you're talking about, that.
You notice those things.
Yes, you notice those things.
That's
So
exactly
that
what
does, so maybe it's a little more, maybe more than I was thinking.
Yeah. Don't. We have well, I shouldn't say we have the problem. We are cursed with the ability to overthink things. And because we overthink them, we make them complicated.
Yes.
It's just in our nature. And what we are learning through these classes is to allow these instances to occur naturally. You can't force change on yourself. Change happens naturally. And it's slower if you don't know what changes you want to make, but it happens a little more smoothly if you know what changes you want to make, because all you have to do is direct your thoughts in that direction. And the more you focus on that, the more influence you have on those subtle energies, and the easier it becomes to move in that direction without any real effort. Because a lot of times when we put real effort into it, we've mistakenly thrown a monkey wrench in the works. So it's like when you asked about those natural points of reflection And that's what this is about. Recognizing those, just expanding your awareness. You don't really have to do anything. All you have to do is expand your awareness, and these opportunities for you to reflect just show up. And sometimes you take advantage of them. Sometimes, you're killing time. You show up at the doctor's office. Oh crap, I forgot to bring my reading material. And all you can do is sit there in the chair and just close your eyes, cross your hands, and just relax. There's a natural point of reflection. It just shows up. It just shows up. So you don't have to work at it. You just have to you just have to recognize it. I shouldn't say expand your awareness, because that gives it this mystical approach there, or mystical quality. All you have to do is recognize it. That's it. You just have to recognize the opportunity and allow yourself to be immersed in it. Allow it to wash over you. So how about yourself, Sandy? Have you noticed any your perspective changing, any stuff like that? Maybe you don't get as riled up quite as easily or as quickly, or
Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. And this probably has nothing to do with anything. But in my life and what I'm going through right now, all I can tell you is there's a part of the first Star Wars movie where Obi-Wan Kenobi is standing there and the planet is blown up. And he says, I feel a shift in the force. That's how I feel a lot. I feel the shift in the force. And that's what I don't know how to deal with. And this probably has nothing to do with what you were just saying, but it came to me that that's one of the reasons why I have trouble focusing, because I feel stuff, probably too much.
it has everything to do with this. We're all feeling it. And I was lost in it. Felt like, a bobber. If you go fishing, like a bobber on the surface, do. I was like that. And then I read an article, and it fueled me, it anchored me, it gave me a direction to go in. And so I started exploring that direction. And as part of that exploration, I explored, what the heck are they talking about with the liberal left? What does that mean? So I explored that. And as I explored that, other questions came up. Okay, we're in this situation. I know how we got there. It's these parties voting down political lines and everything. Okay, how is that affecting the country?
Mm-hmm.
And this is how I found my way in that. But like you, yeah, I'm seeing all of this. It's frustrating because I don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to get out there with these people and protest, because that really sends the wrong message. It's not what I'm teaching. I'm teaching to be more acceptive, to allow it to come into you. And then when you gain that understanding from it, you're able to act on it, and preferably to try to guide the flow as best you can. And so in my postings on Facebook, I'm not ranting and raving. I pull paragraphs out of the articles and I say, this is what's happening. one of those particular articles, I think came out of Mother Jones magazine, and they were talking about how the administration was imposing its agenda upon the states.
Mhm.
New York with their green energy policies and their global warming policies that they're developing. They don't want that. So he sent his attorney general to look for ways to stop it.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I pull bits and pieces out of that and I present it, tell them where it's from, and then I summarize it and say, this is what's happening with the states. What's to say this won't happen to, and we're seeing the same thing. We're seeing the same thing happening with businesses.
Mhm.
He's going after businesses
Mhm.
that have these diversity, equality, and inclusiveness policies.
Mhm. Mhm.
And those that are dependent on funding, he's got control over them.
Mhm.
Okay, so at some point in time, there is the potential, because if we follow this trend, that trend leads to us. What we're doing here right now, it leads to us. And that's what I share. Hey people, you're watching this come apart at the seams,
Mhm.
literally watching it.
Mhm.
What are you going to do about it? And I do offer a solution, a third party that's not prone to extremism. That's the best I can do. So I understand what you're saying, Sandy, because I was feeling it, and that's how I am
Oh.
working with it.
Mhm.
You accept it, you try to understand it, and then when you do, for whatever, you get that inspiration, you just move right along with the flow.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm confident that that will happen with you, Sandy. I'm confident. We're thinking that and I know Sandy looks at Facebook because she's commented on some of the stuff that I've posted. And so I'm sure that you're looking through all of this and you're seeing all this diatribe that's so divisive,
Hatred. Mhm.
hatred,
Mhm.
and you don't know what to do with it.
Mhm.
And the only thing we can do with it is to acknowledge it. Okay, what does this hatred need? This hatred needs love. What does that mean? You nurture this hatred. You nurture their hatred. And how do you nurture their hatred? I put in somebody's response there, when we start demeaning people, then we're no longer helping ourselves. And these are just ideas, but it will come to you. It's just right now, it's shock there. It's shock treatment is what it is. It's shock treatment.
Mhm.
And the nice thing is that you're one of the ones that are not willing to stick your head in the sand and say, oh, I don't watch the news. I don't pay any attention to this. You pay attention. And because you pay attention, you feel that. You're feeling that. You may not have felt that before, but now with these classes, you're feeling that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And don't fight it, but you will be inspired. And you don't have to do one of these grand things like I do. I'm making videos about it and everything because I can. You don't have to do that. You can just be reassuring when somebody else says something about it. In conversation, you can reassure them. So, good, good. And I know you haven't attended any of the classes and probably don't know anything that I'm talking about here.
I'm
But you may have sensed a shifting in perspective. So how is this affecting you?
becoming more self-aware in my role in situations.
And that's important because you never know who you're talking to. I mean, we have to literally learn to speak in a different language. So let's go on with this. And I pulled these out of the material, so it may sound familiar to you. And, you know, have you discovered a different reality of consciousness? Well, we talked about that. So speculations are developing within the realm of science along the lines of philosophy about the connection of the quantum realm, which is what Beth brought up, which is, I call it the realm of potentiality, and with that of consciousness and reality. I know this is pretty deep stuff, but what science is learning from all of this is that we do influence what's happening. We have an influence there. And remember what I said about the natural principle regarding energy or these resonant fields. The stronger field always draws the weaker field after it. And that nature operates through cycles. So this is a cycle. And right now we're seeing the stronger field and how it's affecting people. And you are aware of it. And that's huge. That's huge because you actually see it. You're not just sitting back and like my mother does. I saw this happening years ago. I'm just going to do my own thing. You are actually questioning. And that's huge. Would you have questioned this 10 years ago?
No, it would have been totally alien.
Yeah.
It's like,
So
this is happening someplace else in the
Right,
world.
exactly.
This is not happening in the US
Yeah.
of A.
Yeah. Yeah.
see how far you've come? That was one of those natural points of reflection. And this is what I was talking about. This is what, and I pulled that quote from Rinpoche, Sojo Rinpoche's book, the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. I pulled that out from that. And, you know, it just struck me. So as part of their proposals, the science philosophers, okay, as reality may be nothing more than the fluidness of the quantum realm or the realm of potentiality and the collective thoughts of all that is considered alive. Imagine that. Imagine reality being a mixture of the thoughts of everybody. And this just happens to be the direction that everybody is moving in now. Everybody is thinking about. Remember the law of attraction. You see how all of this is fitting together here? So this means that reality has no fixed point. And one thing you may have learned about reality and the insights and certainties it offers regarding life is that it is best to expect change. So what's happening is not going to stay this way. And the way it was before, it couldn't stay that way. It's just impossible for it to stay that way. The good old days were never there. The good old days are just days that we understood. And we don't understand what's happening now. And while it may seem as though you have been in a certain mental state for such a long time, like Sandy suggested here, when compared to the nature of reality, it is but a blip. So what you're experiencing, Sandy, is just a blip. It's a blip in your overall life. It's a blip. And because you're experiencing right now, that blip is whoosh.
Right. Mhm.
But it's just a blip. It's
Right.
just a blip. The experiences of life do not center around what is called material objects. The experience of life is exactly what it is intended to be, experiential. And through your discoveries, you may have considered setting a new standard of conduct, a new standard of thought, and new goals. And all of you shared that. All of you shared that. You're having new experiences. You're noticing things. And because you are noticing things, you can set different goals. And I'll read one more short piece here, and then we'll talk a little bit. As you go about your daily routine, as many of us do, there are points throughout the day, throughout the night, throughout the project you may be engaged in, and this is what Sharon asked about, that are natural points for introspection. These are points where you may search for opportunities to simplify your life, to expand your experience, or perhaps deepen your understanding. See that, Sharon? You were ahead of the game here.
Wow. That's unusual.
Oh, it happens more often than you think. So just trust yourself. That's what it all comes down to, is trusting yourself. Self-confidence, just trusting yourself, knowing that you can accomplish what you set out to do. Of course, that doesn't necessarily imply that it will be easy. So Beth, what are your thoughts about all of that? What are your thoughts right now as we're moving through this?
Oh, I don't have that many because I'm just so tired that all the cylinders aren't firing, but it provides a sense of, for me, calm. It's almost like I can look at myself as a scientist watching the rat, which is also myself, go figure out the maze. Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching yourself.
Yes.
I think they wrote a song about that.
Norman Rockwell, did anybody familiar with Norman Rockwell paintings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. He did a painting of himself looking in the
Yes.
mirror, painting himself.
Yes.
It was on and on, and it was like, that always fascinated me.
Mhm, mhm.
That's kind of like what I was trying to explain.
MC Usher. That's another artist,
Really?
MC Usher.
Oh, Escher, yes. You know Escher. Escher's the ones that they even have ties and things of some of his, where there'll be two, there's a positive and a negative is the best way I can describe it. And it's the opposite of the other side of a image. And when you look at it, it looks like it's going one way, but the other way it's going, it's the opposite. And they're like usually light and dark. I know you've seen
I
this
must
work
have,
before.
I bet you I
I
have.
know you have.
Think of the god Janus.
Now that I
You
know.
got one face looking in one
Oh,
direction, one in the other
so
direction.
Yeah,
Trump-
okay, got
Trump
it.
delays,
Yeah,
okay.
I knew, yeah, I thought I could find one and show you. They're
Yes,
very cool.
yes. Those tricks of the eye.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
It is.
so,
I
Good.
don't know what I'm familiar with.
good. What are your thoughts about all of that, Sandy?
I like that.
Go ahead and take your sip first.
Oh, it's okay.
I didn't mean to catch you like that.
No,
It
no,
just-
that's okay. I didn't have much coffee this morning, so I made some this afternoon. Well, I mean, I tend to agree. The experience of life do not center on what is called material objects. The experience of life is exactly what it's intended to be, experiential, and through your discoveries, you may have considered setting a new standard of conduct. Well, a new standard of thought and new goals. Well, all I can tell you is I'm working on it. I'm not there. I probably am not there, but I'm working on it. It's a process,
Yes, it is.
and I'm working on it. I wish I could tell you more, but I
you
have
did.
moments where I'm okay, and then I have moments where I'm not, and just hoping that it's more moments that I'm okay than not.
That's part of it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
That's part of it, being aware of that.
mm-hmm.
And you shared quite a bit when you said that you were just, you didn't know where you were at because of all of this that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's overwhelming.
Completely, utterly.
And it seems like every time we look at the news, there's something else going on
Yeah,
that's frightening.
yeah, terrifying. Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's frightening. And you recognize that. Now, I
Mhm.
don't know if you would recognize that beforehand, because you may just have described it as a sense of unease, which is what it would feel like. But you're able to identify it,
Mhm. Mhm.
which is huge. And the
Yeah.
question you're actually asking yourself, I don't know if you've realized this or not, but the question you are actually asking yourself is, okay, what am I to do with this?
Yeah.
How do I act on this? And that's why I was saying, allow it to inspire you, and it will. It will. The most important thing is to recognize what's happening with you right now. And you
Mhm.
did that. That
Yeah.
is huge. So you're not really overwhelmed. You're trying to put it all in order so it makes sense to you. And that's the difficult part.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not easy,
No.
but you get enough pieces of the puzzle and they will click according to your understanding. That's the thing we have to remember. Until whatever is going on with us comes together in a fashion that we recognize, a pattern that we recognize, it's all going to look like gobbledygook.
Mhm.
And that's okay. Don't sell yourself short on that. Just be patient.
Yeah.
Just be patient and allow it to take its own shape. And when you recognize the pattern in a manner of speaking, only then can you act. That's the only time you can act. Because if you act before that, you don't know what's going to happen. So you just have to allow it to come to you. And do you have any thoughts, Lynn?
Yeah, I was just thinking, no matter how overwhelmed I might feel, what I usually do is I just kind of sit back and wait until everything else finishes playing out, and then try to make a decision after I've gotten more facts. Or if I don't feel like I've gotten all the facts, then I just sit quietly and wait.
Yep,
process through everything.
yep. So it's supposed to be terrifying, Sandy. And the
Mhm.
reason why it's supposed to be terrifying is because you may not have all the information yet. What is fear? Fear is a lack of, and typically it's a lack of information, a lack of experience, or a lack of confidence. That's what fear essentially is. It's a lack of. And the only way to dispel fear is to figure out what it is that's lacking. If it's information, once you get the information you need, it's easy. It makes sense. You can do something. If it's because you lack experience, well, you know the answer to that. All you can do is embrace it and move into it. If it's a lack of confidence, again, trust yourself. The only time you have a lack of confidence is when you do not trust yourself. And you just have to accept that, I've got everything that I can possibly have to help me with this. I'm just going to have to do the best I can. And when you accept that you're doing the best that you can, and when you accept that, and you don't fret over, oh, I should have done more, I could have done more. Believe me, if you could have done more, chances are pretty good that you would have.
Mhm. True.
So yes, like you said, Sandy, it's a process. And we all go through that process. I go through the same process each of you goes through. So would you like to add to that, Sharon? Because like I said, you'd already opened the door on that earlier.
The fear is the worst because it just stops you dead in your tracks. And you can't move any direction.
It does. And part of the reason fear does that to us is because we are taught,
Yeah, conditioned response.
conditioned
You know?
to it. Yes. What does the Bible say? Fear your God.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Fear your God. We're conditioned to it. Religion conditions us to fear. And when we fear something, and that's not what God is all about.
Mhm.
And that's an altogether different topic. So, all right, we're going to take a break. So, all right. Does anybody have any comments or questions? Okay. So, I've got in there somewhere, through these reflections, you may discover the futility of old habits. And through this, you may discover that in changing those habits, new possibilities may unfold. So have you noticed any habits that are really not doing you any favors? Lynn must have, because she's hiding her face.
Too many to count.
Yeah.
I usually catch myself doing something, at least once a day.
So, but this is to help you understand that habit. If it's not serving you, you can't really get rid of the habit until you understand the habit. And when you understand why you're doing it, then it's much easier to change your habit. So, and, grasping and reaching for desires, objects, or wants that are elusive, may be the source of your problems. Have you noticed that? Chuckling, heads nodding, yeah, yeah. And it's through these reflections that you may discover that nothing is independent from anything around it. You may discover that all people, all animals, all plants, all of nature exists through subtle relationships. You may also discover that this could not have happened any other way. Now, a lot of you are upset with the current administration. That's a relationship that you actively developed, believe it or not. It's a relationship that you actively developed. And that relationship is going to do one of several things. One of them is to prompt you to respond. And then you're faced with the next step. Okay, how do I respond? Because, like Reverend Thomas taught, your intention flavors the energy. If you oppose it, then the energy that you're drawing upon is not a shield of protection, it's a resistance. But if you look for ways to utilize it, that's like accepting it for what it is. You know, you don't want to call him an idiot or a fool, because you know that all that does is tell everybody that you really don't know what's going on and you don't care to know what's going on. Because he's not an idiot or a fool. He's very intelligent in the way he's doing things. And anyway, so one of the ways you can accept that energy, and I'll tell you something, it's much easier to transmute or change energy than it is to resist it. It's a whole lot easier to add milk than it is to put up a barrier to redirect it. So you can take what's happening, what's coming out of the administration, you can take that as a means of directing your response. Okay, he's imposing his agenda upon states that don't want to do this. Hey people, he's doing this, and he may eventually do it to you. We have an opportunity here. We can find a way to redirect this, to see if it's in the Constitution and to bring it to everybody's attention. We have that opportunity, or we could sit there and just cross our arms and watch it happen. It may or may not have an effect, but you really don't know until you do. So we have all these subtle relationships. They're just part of the routine, part of life. Sharon sometimes works as a cashier. There's those subtle relationships we're talking about here are now up on the surface. Whenever we think about something, there's a subtle relationship developing there. Think of neurons in the brain firing when you get these ideas, and then it sends messages to the fingers and arms and everything else. It's the same thing. Everything is interrelated. And when we understand that, then we become more conscious of our actions. So, what are your thoughts about that, Lynn? I see you over there with your arms crossed and everything. Don't mess with me. I don't,
I don't have the arm rest. But my thoughts were there are no coincidences.
Okay, there are no coincidences. There's just relationships. So, yeah, yeah. What are your thoughts, Sandy?
Well, that's a lot to absorb right now. And like I said before, it's a work in progress. I I hear what you're saying. As an individual, one person, feel very powerless. So as much as all I can say is it's a work in progress. I don't know how else to put it. Just, you know, um, and hopefully it, you know, good will prevail. That's all we can do is just hope that it's going to prevail. And like you said, um, people will stand up to him and with our Constitution, and hopefully we'll have the power to stop him. And if that doesn't happen, then I don't know what. So that it's like I understand what you're saying, but like I say, it's something that has to be contemplated. Let me put it that way.
Let me, clue you in on something here. And with today's population density, okay, and Sandy just said, I'm just one person. Well, guess what? You're not just one person, because there are at least 10 others that will be doing exactly what you decide to do. At
Mhm.
least 10
Mhm.
others. I mean, I am so confident that I'm about that I just accept that any great idea I have, there's at least 10 other people out there having the same idea,
At the same time.
and 6 of them will contemplate it, and 2 of them will act on it, and 1 of them will sleep on it. Yeah. So you're not one person. With the population density the way it is, there are over 8 billion people on this planet. So, my saying at least 10 people is conservative.
Mhm.
It's conservative. AI, that's the hot topic now. AI, artificial intelligence. Do you know that artificial intelligence was developed in 4 or 5 different parts of the world simultaneously?
Mhm.
And I don't have to look that statistic up. That's how confident I am. Microsoft, Google, and I forget which others. Theirs came out virtually the same time. Chat, yes?
Just like COVID vaccine.
Yeah, there you go. COVID vaccine.
Mhm.
Independently developed by 3 pharmaceuticals. And that's just in the United States. France had theirs the day before. What was that? It wasn't Pfizer. Medtronics? Madura, that's it. That's it, Madura. It was the day before Madura had theirs. So yeah, know that you're not just one person. You are part of a team, and you may just be that one person on the team that coaxes the rest of them along. So, what are your thoughts, Sharon?
I understand about standing up, like you said, and being the one. I mean, But again, the old fear thing comes around again. Now there's words, you hear things about, well, if you put yourself out there, then you're a target. And your information or your person, the whole, this is the administration of fear.
Mhm.
And that is what they're putting out there.
Yeah.
And everybody, everybody's terrified. Everybody is.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to say, nobody, obviously, they don't want to do anything. The ones that can do something won't do anything. That's my observation.
Mhm.
So, it's hard for us to be able to do something when we're not getting any direction. We're really not getting much direction.
Yeah,
So it's gonna take a little while, I think. I mean, I do believe that, I believe there is I don't know about legislation, but there are a lot of court, there's a lot of suing and people going after for some of these things that it's all illegal.
Mhm.
All of it's illegal, but they're going after some of it, but courts take time, it takes a long time to get through the system, so I believe that the things are gonna start picking up.
yeah,
Because people are really fed up. And more, hopefully, there'll be a bandwagon that we can stand on, find the right one and find, to make our voices heard without being afraid.
Mhm. Mhm.
But this is baby steps right now. It's all baby steps.
I know, I'm right there with
I
you.
know.
I was fearful of it, just like you. I'm gonna share a couple things with you that might be helpful for you.
Okay,
Assume they've already got it.
yeah, well, they probably do. I'm sure they.
From what I've read, they've already got it.
Yeah,
Just assume they're already selling it to Nigeria, Siberia, and any other area. Just assume they're already selling it.
yeah.
Just assume it.
Penguin Planet.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, the penguin planet. Just assume they've already distributed it. And the other thing, observation, do you know how quickly this stuff is actually moving through the courts now?
No,
It used to take years for this stuff to go through. It's moving through from months and weeks, and in some instances, days.
good.
Some instances, days. Just last night, they pushed something through one of the Supreme Court districts about the deportation, the rounding up and deportation of immigrants. And the administration had moved them from one location to another location that was not under an injunction. And, overnight, stop. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean that they will stop, but overnight. And the judges are saying this is probably a violation of the Constitution. Unfortunately, that's not something I can address in my court. They're starting to say that. They are starting to say that. So yes, it's happening. It is happening.
Good.
It is happening. And did I get your thoughts? No.
No,
All right. So lay it on us.
Okay, so going back to discussion of nature
Mhm.
and our cycles, there are, and this is scientific. So the plant scientists have studied when a predator attacks a plant, well, let's call it a beetle. Let's call it a Japanese beetle, we all know those. That plant that's being attacked sends out signals. I don't know how. Electrical, chemical, whatever,
Light emission.
light emission The other plants pick it up, they send out other light emissions that call the Japanese beetle predators to that area. So who's to say
Oh, okay.
that this worrying or, this angst that we're all going through, we're not sending out our own emissions, and who knows what's coming? So how it's being responded to, the court's moving in more quickly. Maybe that's a sign, maybe those are our scouts that are coming,
Good.
the early, yes, it is.
I never thought of that.
And it's, if nature's doing it, so we must be doing it.
Mhm.
If a plant can do it, we can do it. Maybe not as well.
That's exactly what you are sensing, Sandy.
Mhm, mhm.
That's exactly what you are sensing. It's exactly what a lot of us are sensing.
Mhm.
And, eventually we may discover a way to respond. We may not. If we don't, there's nothing wrong with that. It's still not harmful. Even what you are thinking, we send thoughts out, emotions out continuously. Even thinking in that direction may be taken in by someone as a piece of inspiration. We don't know that. That's way beyond my pay grade.
Mhm.
But I know enough from experimenting with the principle of attraction to know that actually is happening. It is actually happening. When we sense something like this, a general unrest, and we've been talking about this general unrest for a long time now. A long time. And, we don't have to respond in a way that we may feel puts a target on our backs. You don't have to respond in that way. You can respond in just being calm. You can respond by having conversations about it. Voice your concerns with people. Heck, we can start something else up after this, and we can explore some of these different questions, like I do. So yeah, good observation there. Anything else? I didn't mean to cut in like that.
No. That was it.
So, but yeah,
Plants can do it, we can do it.
I did read an article several years ago about plants communicating, cells communicating, light emissions. If you've got those healing books, it's in there. So, all right. You may also discover that you are not able to resolve all of those issues you carry with you, all of those circumstances, all of those events, all of those situations you carry around with you in the form of baggage. I forget how Pink Floyd described that, but their movie, The Wall, it just see that. We carry all this baggage around with us, this luggage, and you may discover that you cannot release them without the assistance of others. Not everybody can work on these things by themselves. Some of us can. I am one of those who can typically work that stuff out on my own. I do a lot of reading. I do a lot of experimenting. But a majority of the people need assistance. or I should say, should have assistance. Because some people, when they try to do it on their own, they make it even worse. That's why we have therapists. And we could say that's why we have ministers, but ministers aren't allowed to do that. Do you know what spiritual counselors are only allowed to do? Teach the doctrine of their religion.
Mhm.
How fortunate you are that we don't have a doctrine.
Mhm. Mhm.
Boy, what a huge advantage that is.
Yeah, for
As long as
sure.
I don't start sending bills out to all of you, you're okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, yeah. Let me see here. I think I start with you and you and you. I'll start with Sandy this time. So, what are your thoughts about all of this? We're wrapping up. We're wrapping up. So, what are your thoughts about all of this?
Well,
Every,
I've always considered introspection is a very difficult thing for me. So there I'll put that right out there. So all of it is difficult for me. However, there are a few bright spots. So and we've talked about those, so that feels comforting to a degree. And like I said, it's just a process. It's a process and a work in progress. So there have been, some lights in the tunnel today. So that's about all I can. That's the crux of it. Yeah.
our next class is going to start providing you with some tools for introspection.
Hmm.
But before we could get to those tools,
Yeah.
we had to understand first the need for it,
Hmm. Hmm.
and second, what can come out of it. So our next class, I think they're short. I think there's self-dialogue. I think journaling may be included in that self-dialogue. And feeding the demons, we're all familiar with that
Yeah.
concept. It's
Yeah.
part of our baggage classes. And so we can talk about all of those. Those are different tools we can use to help us, different perspectives. So, and what are your thoughts, Beth?
Um, oh, I think it's for me very helpful to come here to lay out fears or anxieties and talk through them and get the different perspectives or get different metaphors, different way of seeing something. Because then I can leave feeling more assured, stronger. So it's very helpful.
Yeah, if we do a class like that, it won't be recorded. So,
Okay.
what are your thoughts, Sharon?
Yeah, I like what Beth said. Yeah, that's true. It's interesting because I thought, I wonder if the therapists' phones are blowing up right now with people wanting to get into therapy because they can't deal with a lot that's going on. Interesting you said about the spiritual therapists, but I wonder what the regular therapists are dealing with these days, if they're super
Wondering
busy.
how to pay their bills when Medicaid and Medicare
Yes,
get cut.
yes, yes,
I'm so glad I'm not in the field anymore.
yeah, I understand,
Hmm.
understand.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts, Lynn?
Just so whenever I feel like I'm a hamster on a wheel going round and round and not making any headway, open my eyes. Take a look around me, see what's going on. see why am I not moving forward? Why do I feel stuck?
Yep. Yep. Same questions all of you asked and have offered, you know, I've been there, been through that. Some of it I still experience. We still experience. What the heck is going on? Why am I stuck in this? Sit down and let's start exploring. Let's discover why. Is it easy? No, it's not. If it were easy, what's the cliche? Everybody would be doing it. But since only a handful of people are doing it, it must be very hard. And all of you are courageous. You are courageous just for the attempt. Because a lot of people don't get that far. They get as far as thinking about it. And you are asking questions. And that is a huge accomplishment for yourselves. So go out and have a little bit of a celebration for yourself. Congratulate yourself because you're doing a hell of a job.